Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Hi, Ira. How are you?
I'm hanging in there better than I was.
Sorry, what's that?
I'm just getting over COVID.
I hope you're feeling okay.
Yeah, a lot better. I was out of commission for a month.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're on the up and up.
Yeah, I am. Thank you. Did you get my note about the surveyors?
Yes, I did. That's good news.
Yes. Glad to hear that. Hi, Jim. You're on mute. Jimmy. Hi, Paul.
That better?
Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, that's better, Jim.
All right.
Hey, Jim, I sent you a note about 41 Highland Street.
I'll take care of that in the morning. That must have been the gentleman I talked to earlier.
Right, I told him to touch base with you and only you.
Okay, he has to. That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Chief.
Chief, how are you?
Good.
Hey, Ralph.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy
You
New
too, my
Year.
friend.
Same to you, Chief.
Chief, I thought you had a conflicting meeting. Are you going to be staying with us?
I think I will be staying with
Okay.
with us on the Traffic Commission,
Okay.
and Chief Bright is taking care of the other meeting we had.
Oh, okay, great.
So we kind of went in different directions. Just
Oh,
to
beautiful.
cover
All right.
everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Argenzio.
Frank Stringy is just having a slight problem getting on. We're going to wait a minute or two for him.
Absolutely.
Is Sergeant Janino on?
Yes, he is.
Glad to hear that. Here's Frank.
Here comes Frank.
Hello, Counselor.
Hey, Sarge, how you doing?
Okay, I think I'm in.
You are Frank.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay.
Quick lesson in Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we can get started. I want to call the Traffic Commission meeting of January 7th to order. Members present are Nick Rystrom, City Engineer, Chief of the Police, Dave Callahan, Frank Stringy, City Planner, and myself, Paul Agenzio, Superintendent of Public Works. We're going to open up with the public hearings. The first one is to amend Schedule 11 of Title 10, Handicapped Persons Parking Areas, by removing two addresses, 115 Thornton and 221 Proctor Avenue. Anyone wish to speak in favor of removing these two signs?
Hi, Mr. Agenzio.
Mr. Ralph, Mr. DeChico.
115 Thornton Street, a few of the residents had contacted me stating that that handicap sign has not been used for a few years. There hasn't been anybody parking at it. So that's why I had asked for a public hearing to have it removed.
Okay.
So that one is one that I wanted to see if we could have it removed.
Okay.
Ira, I'm not sure if you have any objections to that. I know it's your area.
The person that lived there that used it had moved to Walnut Ave, and I think she's since passed away.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Under those circumstances, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to remove the sign at 115 Thornton Street.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Okay. So moved. 115 Thornton Street. Ralph, 221 Proctor.
In 221 Proctor, the new owners of the residence had sent a notification through the Revere 301 system, and I contacted them. So they're new owners of that residence, and they wanted to have the handicap sign removed.
Okay, so the handicapped person is moved.
Yes, so I just wanted to put it to a public hearing. This way, if there's any objections or if there was any issues with that, there'd be a public hearing on it before we went forward on it.
Okay. Anyone wishing to speak against removing it? Hearing and seeing none, do I hear a motion to remove?
So moved.
So moved. A second?
I'll second that as well, Mr. Argenzio.
Thank you, Chief. So ordered. 221 Proctor Avenue, the sign will be removed. The next item on the agenda is to amend Schedule 9 of Title 10, excuse me, isolated stop signs by deleting. This is more of a housekeeping matter. There's probably about 40 of them on here. Councilor Novoselsky put this in, I think, just to clean up the records. Councilor, could care to speak on this?
Yeah, absolutely. And having to deal with some other issues, I noticed a lot of these streets had wrong directions, and some of the streets were turned into one-ways. And so I just went through everything and just clean it right up. We delete all these ones, Elger Road, Blake, in two directions.
Yep.
We just get rid of those right now, and then on the next section we have a lot of existing signs, stop signs that are there now but aren't on the books.
Okay.
And there's only one new out of the whole list of number 3. I know I jumped the gun a little.
Okay.
That's brand new. And that's the Kimball Ave request. But everything else is all existing, and it's putting it in the books in the right direction.
Okay.
So, do number 2 first, if you would, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask a quick question just to clarify for number 2, we're saying that all of the signs on this list currently do not exist in the field, correct?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, through you.
Sure. Go ahead, Councilor.
They all exist, but it says southeast instead of south. It says southwest instead of northwest. And some of them are in the wrong direction. So it's just clarifying the correct direction, north, east, south, and west, rather than being very specific on southeast, northwest, stuff like that.
So you clarify that in Section 3.
That's correct.
Okay, so we're not taking these signs down, you're just correcting the verbiage.
That's correct.
But I see, Counselor, that some exist on the number 2. For example, Alger Road is being deleted in under number 2, but it's not being added in number 3.
Yeah, that's correct, because Alger Road is a one-way.
Okay, so it's just being deleted completely.
Going eastbound, and it doesn't merge with Garfield Ave. It actually, and there's no stop sign there at the particular location that this is identifying. This is wrong, because Alger Road does not go eastbound to Garfield Ave, because it's a one-way going the opposite way. So there's no need for it. I guess when they built the Garfield School, it was a two-way street, and they did have a stop sign at Garfield where the exit is from the ramp coming out of the school. So, but they made it a one-way going eastbound, so the westbound traffic does not meet at Garfield Ave at all. So that's totally wrong.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with Blake Street going eastbound at Garfield. That became a one-way going eastbound from North Shore Road down to Garfield. That's a one-way going westbound now. So that's totally out of line. So, and that's what happens with a lot of a bunch of these, that the one-way streets were made and we're just eliminating this portion of it.
Okay.
Unless you want to go drive around and check everything.
No, I just want to make sure I understand, because I see that the list under number 2 is much shorter than the list under number 3, so.
Right, and Blake Street southbound to Garfield, Blake doesn't go north-south, it goes east-west.
Right, okay.
Okay. Yeah, satisfied, Nick, with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I would then make a motion to accept number 2 of under the public hearings.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Second, thank you. All in favor, all opposed? So ordered. Moving on to section 3, Counselor.
Thank you. The first two items at Kimball Ave, I talked about that at the last meeting, and this is a new location at the corner of Walnut and Kimball, and it goes east-west. And at that intersection, there's a lot of people coming down from Shirley Ave to go down to the Wonderland Marketplace. And cars are really flying around there. I was down there with a detail one day, and the sergeant said to me, "This is terrible. They're flying by here, Ira. Can we do anything about it?" I said, "Well, if you talk to Sergeant Janino and Traffic Commission, I'll be glad to put in for a stop sign in both directions." So, and that's what this is, to slow down traffic at that location. Every single one of the other ones below that are all existing locations to correct some of the items that were deleted for number 2, but they're already existing signs at these locations. There are some missing ones, a couple of corrections, and if you don't mind, I can do offline with Sergeant Janino and do the corrections instead of going over each individual one right now.
That would be great. I'd appreciate that.
Okay, Sergeant Janino, is that okay with you? Yeah, I see your head
Okay.
shaking. I don't hear the marbles moving.
There we go.
But we'll go over this and make exact corrections of what has to be done. And I know, like I said, just a few minor adjustments.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Anyone opposed to this? Would like to speak? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Do I hear a motion to accept this?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, so ordered.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, you're welcome, Ira. Moving on to item 4, this is municipal parking lot changes. Now, this is quite extensive. I don't know if everybody wants me to read this whole shooting match here, but I will try to paraphrase a little bit. Section 1 is the fee schedule. Business parking permit is hereby amended by reducing the fee from $300 to $100. Section 2, do you want to take them section by section, or? I think,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, it's Ira.
sure.
On that section 1, the business, that's not the commercial one overnight.
No, that's for the business owners.
For the ones that like on Shirley Ave.
The Shirley Ave parking lot, and we're going to start to institute this on the Central Ave parking lot.
Okay, no, that'll be good. I think that's great. And I know the business owners will appreciate that very much for that reduction.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
So what's the feeling of the commission? You want me to kind of paraphrase all these, and then we'll discuss them in one shot?
Sure, that works.
Okay, section 2, table 1, parking meter fees are hereby amended by deleting the last sentence and inserting in place thereof. The fee for parking in a municipal off-street parking area on Shirley Avenue shall be 25 cents for each 15-minute interval. The fee for parking in a municipal off-street parking area on Central Ave shall be 50 cents for each hour. The fee for parking in a municipal off-street parking area on Acela Court shall be 50 cents for each hour. Section 3, hours of operation are hereby amended by inserting a new subsection C as follows. Meters at Acela Court are utilized from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Section 4, off-street parking meter zones is hereby amended by inserting the following new locations as follows. Central Ave, lots, blah, 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 number of spaces 23. Acela Court, blah, 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 number of spaces 32. Section 5, Schedule 15, 16, 18 of Title 10, off-street parking meter zones are hereby amended by deleting the following locations. Central Ave, lots 1 and 9, Inner Acela Court, lots 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and Passageway, and Sprague Street, lot 8. Section 7 of Title 10, Parking Restrictions Generally, is hereby amended by inserting the following: location, Sprague Street, Senior Center parking only. Section 7, Schedule 11 of Title Handicap Person Parking Areas is hereby amended by adding the following locations: the Central Ave, lots 1641, 2 spots closest to Central Avenue, and on Sprague Street, the 3 spots closest to Sprague Street. Section 8, Schedule 9B of Title 10, parking by business parking permit only, Arcella Court. And the things are there for your edification. Section 9, time limit in meter zones and municipal off-street parking area is hereby amended by deleting the second and third sentence in its entirety and inserting in place of: no person shall park a vehicle for a period of time longer than 2 hours between the hours of operation provided for subsection. Fees, hours of operation. Section 10, Schedule 8 of Title 10, Parking Restrictions Generally, is hereby amended by deleting the following locations: Central Ave, the Easterly, municipal parking lot, Central Ave side, first 10 spaces, both aisles, excluding the 2 HP parking spaces. Parking time, 1 hour. Section 11, Title 10 of Revised Ordinances of the City of Revere is hereby amended by inserting a new schedule as follows. Schedule 9 of Title 10, Resident Permit Parking in Municipal Lots. From 5 p.m. to 9 a.m., Monday through Friday, and 24 hours on Saturday, Sunday, and holidays. Shirley Ave Municipal Parking Lot, 24 hours, with the caveat: only residents of Shirley Ave whose motor vehicles are registered to the Shirley Ave address between North Shore Road and Walnut Ave may apply for a resident parking permit to park in the Shirley Ave municipal lot. Section 12, parking by business permit, parking permit only is hereby amended by deleting the last sentence from the footnote. Further, residents of Shirley Ave whose motor vehicles are registered to the Shirley Ave address between North Shore Road and Walnut Ave may apply for a resident parking permit to park in the Shirley Ave municipal parking lot. Section 13 of Title 10, parking by permit only is hereby amended by deleting the following locations: Ocean Ave, North Parking Lot, Ocean Ave, South Parking Lot, Ocean Ave, East Lot, and Reservoir Avenue. Section 14, parking restrictions generally. We're going to take that one separately because that's pertains to Brookline Street and has nothing to do with the municipal parking lots. So if anyone followed that, good luck. And so does Ashley, do we have any residents or anyone that are in the queue waiting to speak?
Hi, Paul. There's no one here besides who's listed in the panelists. There's no attendees.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Do we have any discussion or any, Councilor Ira, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in Section 2,
Yep,
about the fees for municipal lots and the meters,
yes.
why would Shirley Ave be different at $1 an hour compared to 50 cents for Broadway?
Sergeant Janino, do you?
That was just the recommendation we got from, when they submitted the thing.
Jimmy Rose has.
Mr. Rose?
Okay, I'd like to actually shed some light on that. That's a good question, Ira. I think we only have 6 meters in the Shirley Ave parking lot, and they're the same accessible to the street, easy accessible. Whereas on Broadway, we're offering the Broadway, their meters are $1 per hour, but the people are inconvenienced because it's not a matter of just stepping on the sidewalk and paying that meter. So they got to go out of their way, and then they have to walk to any of the businesses or restaurants that they're using. So it's more of an inconvenience, and it's to help basically the businesses. But you're talking 6 meters to basically 50-something meters, and it's the convenience of how it's all set up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it's just a difference. If it's only 6 meters, what's the big
No,
deal?
I know what you're saying,
Otherwise, you have to do the whole street.
But if we did those 6 meters, then we'd have to reduce the rate to all of Shirley Ave because they're all on top of each other. It's not really, it's almost like it's an extension right there, easy accessible.
And there aren't a lot of people that use those 6 meters anyway, so I
Right.
don't know what the intake is on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a reasonable fee schedule, and I agree with that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Just if you go down to number 11, Mr. Chairman,
Excuse me, which one?
go down to section 11,
Okay, yes.
about residents only. We have no problem on that. That was discussed almost 5 years ago about who was going to actually park there, because there were only like 22 permit spaces there. So we wanted to give the people on Shirley Ave who had no access to any of the side streets, give them some capable parking for them, and give them primary spots. And there's maybe only about 30 residences from that Walnut Ave down to North Shore Road that would be involved in this. So I have no problem with the way that's written.
Okay, so just to clarify, the Shirley Avenue residents would be able to park there 24 hours. On the Central Ave parking lot, residents can go from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, and holidays 24 hours.
Yep, this is it, but we're talking about, I was talking about the Shirley Ave ones, not Estella.
Right, but that's 24 hours.
Right.
So residents, Mr. Rose, residents can park there anytime.
Yes.
In that lot, okay.
That's correct. And the amount of businesses that park in those permit parking spaces during the day, if there's 3 or 4 residences parked there during the day, it's a lot. So that's why we allow commingling between the business people and the residences during the day.
Okay. So, Mr. Rose, I see you want to talk. I just have one question. The business parking permits, are those, is the number limited on Shirley Avenue?
In the business lot, they're not limited. No, it's between a certain area. I think between North Shore Road and, was it Walnut, that we were selling them to the businesses originally?
That's correct.
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in the past we haven't sold many, so we haven't had an issue. In fact, to date, I don't think we've sold any. But after this is passed, it might be a different story.
Right. Once the price is reduced and they know it, they'll come up.
Reduced.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Rose, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'd also like to say something to how this kind of all came about. Mr. Festa, Julie Demaro, and yourself, Paul, we had a little meeting going back, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be November sometime, and we discussed what some of the options that we could do to basically help the business people on Broadway, to help them with some parking, okay? Because if they didn't have parking behind their buildings, they were probably paying meters. And so we were trying to help them and reduce their cost of parking. Julie was very helpful in that. She's here tonight, and so wasn't John Festa. But John Festa's father was also very instrumental in this Central Ave parking lot. He set this up many years ago, and so kudos to him. He wanted to help the people. Mr. Festa, we all knew him. He was a total gentleman, and he's a lot of this is something that's still carrying on through the Festas. And John Festa also, he was very instrumental because he's the business liaison person for Broadway. So he came to me with the idea, and we were always talking about doing something with the Central Ave parking lot. So I think we came up with some pretty reasonable and good ideas to help the people and help defray the cost of parking on Broadway.
So, and just to Jim's point, I want to bring up a couple of other issues that were happening in that Central Avenue parking lot. There were people that were parking there all day. There's been times that we've had to, stripe the lot or clean the lot where we leave notices of towing of a certain day of striping the lot. And what we were finding is the notices were staying on cars for a week on end. So people were just parking their cars and they were leaving them there. We're also starting to get kind of complaints about commuters parking in the lot and then getting on the, either the 119 or the 117 and taking that bus to wherever they were to go, whether it be, Maverick Station or Wonderland Station or Beachmont Station. So that takes away from a business owner or an employee that should have access to that lot during the day. The limited metered parking spots was done intentionally. We want residents to be able to still access that lot. We want people to just be able to park there and then just go, after the 2 hours. This is just a well-rounded compromise for everybody involved. I do know that some of the businesses are probably going to be a little bit, not happy about having to buy a parking permit, but over the end of the day, it's still cheaper than I think it would work out to $8 a day for 5 days a week if you would have to feed the meter every time. Then your incidental tickets here and there. So it still will be a cheaper option than, feeding the meter.
Okay, thank you. Mr. DeCicco, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, just one question on the Shirley Ave parking lot. That I've been down there a couple of times, and I'm just curious as if we ever look to make sure that we have the accurate amount of handicap spots in that lot, because there was only one spot. I know, Julie, you probably have looked into that. Now that there's more restaurant businesses in there, and we're utilizing it for businesses buying spots there. So what that's doing is there's not a lot of spots now for handicapped residents. I believe there's only one handicapped spot in there. So I'm just making sure that we've looked into that.
Okay, Sergeant Giannino, is there a rule of thumb for X amount of parking spaces? You need so many HP spots?
Yeah, it's 1 per 25.
Yeah, there is.
Correct. That's correct, 1 for 25.
1 for 25. And do we know how many spots off the top of our head are in that lot?
Well, I believe there were 28.
28, okay. So there possibly should be,
Yeah, excuse me, but there's 22 permit spots and 6 metered spots.
Just a minute.
And actually it's 29, and then the one handicap spot, which is not metered.
okay,
There's actually 29 there.
okay.
Well,
Yes, go ahead.
just so you know too, the handicap could pack the meters in that spot down there for free also.
That's correct.
Along the handicap.
Okay.
Right, but there's only 6 metered spots now.
Okay, so Mr. DeCicco, do you feel like there should be 2 spots instead of 1?
Yeah, well, the problem is there's a lot of spots, but there's total with the handicap. There's only 7 total spots in that lot. So with the 7 total spots, there is only 1 handicap spot, which doesn't leave, because you have to go by the total criteria. It doesn't matter what the spots are being allocated for in that lot. It's got to go the total amount of spots in that lot. So if some are being allocated for business use or whatnot, it still needs to be, the criteria still needs to meet the quota. So if there's 28 spots, there should be 2 handicap spots in there, in that lot.
Okay.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is we had a big meeting for local commission on disabilities yesterday, and that's been being brought up with different towns. And I'm just trying to make sure that we're covering anything. I just don't want anything coming back at us on it, where we're now putting meters and whatever. Wanted to just do everything at the same time, just to cover all the bases.
Okay, so if we were to add a handicap spot, would we reduce the metered spots or reduce the business?
I would suggest reducing the business spot.
Well, you have to realize too that there's no designated business spot. They're co-used with the businesses and the residents.
Okay, so if a person were to buy a business permit and they went to the lot and there were no spots, it was full, what is that? Do you think that would ever happen, or?
No, I don't think that would ever
Okay,
happen.
all right, okay.
And like I said, when the survey that I did before we actually did all this, there were only 3 or 4 residences that
Okay,
were parked during the day. So that left, like 20 spaces available for businesses.
Can I make a suggestion, just so that, maybe after this passes, we look into, if you buy a business permit parking spot, that some sort of signage be put in there that says, parking permit or BP permit number 777, and it goes on a sign, and then they can just, if they have permit number 777, they park there.
I don't agree with designating a space for anybody special.
Okay. Just first come, first serve.
Leave it generic. Yeah,
That's it.
Leave it generic, because actually, just like in handicap, you can't designate a space for a particular person. Even though Boston tried it, I know you can't. They have to be for anybody that has a handicap.
Yeah, it's an ADA violation.
Plate.
okay, so I'm just trying to understand this myself. So there's 6 metered spots. If I go down there and I don't find, I say I'm coming from Broadway, I don't find a metered spot, can I park in any other spot, or am I done?
Well, honestly, there's plenty of parking there during the day at meters.
Okay, but theoretically, if the 6 metered spots were filled,
They
and
can
I
park
come,
in the street.
I can park in the street. Okay, but I can't park there. I can only go in those 6 spots if I'm not from Shirley Avenue.
That's correct, if you don't have permit parking for that lot.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, and like I said, those 6 meters are just tag-alongs with the street.
With the street, okay.
Sidewalk meters, so
Supplemental.
somebody
Okay,
can park there, even a handicapped person can park
okay.
on the street if they had to.
All right, I get it. Any other questions or comments about this all these sections? Mr. Rose, once this gets passed, which it seems like it's going to, how quick will the meters go in? And
That's something that we could get working on it right away, but right now I'm having as you know, the Mass General, they're having the COVID-19 testing. We could still work around that. But I would imagine that we could send it out to bid with the MAPC. I'm sure that we could pick the person we want, and I would say in a matter of weeks, we could get this up and going.
okay, and we can make the decision if we would just want to hold off a little bit until this testing thing calms down.
Yeah.
Right, and we can always designate an area on the testing and still do what we're doing and rent out the meter spaces.
Okay,
And I think we should just, when this does pass, I think, we just really need to notify, through flyers, the business owners, just letting everybody know of these changes, because I think, it's going to be significant for a lot of people that use that lot, especially overnight, early morning sweeping and all of that. But I think a lot of notification is going to go a long way for this.
okay,
To help with it, yes.
thank you.
That's something we've been doing pretty well in the parking.
I know.
But it
I
sounds,
know.
Could you explain this break
Depends on who
street?
you ask.
Yeah.
Could you explain this break street change
The
in the
spring,
municipal lot? So it's going down. I just wanted to make sure I understand it, because after the last meeting, I started getting some calls about the handicap changes in the lot towards the. I'm sure you probably got some calls. So I just want to make sure that I understand it.
at some point, it was decided that an inordinate amount of handicap spots were put there on Sprague Street, at the Sprague Street end of it. And that was for the Senior Citizen Center. But a lot of the seniors that use the Senior Citizen Center that didn't have a handicap plate said they didn't have a place to park. So we thought that the 3 spots that were originally there would be adequate for, okay? So that's what.
Meters are going to go in the rest of the spots?
Yes,
So meters will go in the rest of the spots there. And I tried explaining to people that have handicap placards that even though meters are there, you can still park there and not have to pay. So it makes more spots for people that don't have placards that can park close to the senior center, but if you do have a placard, you can still park there and not pay the meter. So I just wanted to make sure we got clarification for that, because a few of the people were getting worried about that there's not going to be a spot for them to park if they're handicapped, with there only being 3. But they can still park there and they don't have to worry about paying the meter.
Yep, they can park any place they want in that lot.
Yep. Exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, either to Jim or Julie, what is our total parking space count now at Central and Sprague?
So it would be for the Central and Sprague, I think Central and the whole amount, I believe it was 152 spaces. And I think 32 of those spaces will now be metered. Jim, am I right on that, or am I off a little bit?
32 in the Acela Court, and the Central Ave is another, I want to say, for some reason, I had it here.
23.
23? Is that what it is? Yeah, okay. 50-something spaces altogether.
Yeah.
And
But just in the Sprague side, but
on
on
the
the Sprague side, Jim, it's a little bit less, right?
The Sprague side is a little bit less, yes.
So again, what's our total
The Sprague
count?
side is basically for that's going to be for the senior center, more in the Sprague. When you go in the back of the court, what's it, a cellar court that goes into the back?
Yes.
Am I correct? That's where the other meter, 32 meters, are going to be in the back, in the cellar court.
Excella Court rear.
Rear.
Excella Court rear. Frank, are you talking about Excella Court when you come off of Broadway to the left? That's going to be all the business permitted parking.
I'm talking the entire municipal parking lot area, which incorporates Acela Court and Sprague and Central, because I want to make sure we're handicap compliant with respect to spaces. If it's 150 spaces total, then we would need 66 handicap spaces.
There was some full-blown number that was out there for number of spaces. I went down, I counted them, and off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it certainly wasn't 150 spaces.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree. I don't think we're anywhere close to 150 spots by any means. Realistically, I mean, I haven't done the account, but I think it was probably, we're talking 50-something meters, and we're talking 13, and then the seniors only had about 20. So in other words, 18 we had for the businesses. I think it was 32 in the Acela, 29 in the Central, metered. I'm talking metered. And then we had the seniors, which, if I counted correctly, there was about another 20. So add them all together real quickly is probably close to maybe 100.
Less than 100. So we have 4 handicap parking spaces there total. So we're in compliance.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, question.
Yes, Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you. Through you to Jimmy Rose. Jim, I know we put limitations on like 2-hour parking on the meters. How strong is your staff to actually monitor if somebody was there 2 hours or longer?
What are you talking in the parking lots, or just out on the street in the neighborhoods, Ira?
Either or both.
Well, we're hoping to get new handheld devices that will be able to correctly mark these vehicles, which we're working on now. But right now, we can't mark the vehicles. But we do have plenty to keep us busy in helping cleaning up the neighborhoods with permit parking. I'm bouncing around here a little, but it'll be adequate enough. And we also will keep an eye. After a while, if you're a parking control officer, you start to pick up very quickly when you're doing these streets, who's abusing, who's staying there. The car's there every day for 2 hours, so we'll be able to monitor it. But hopefully next week we're having a discussion about new handheld devices with Kelly and Ryan, and Everett already has them, and I'm hoping that we can get them within the next month or two. And then we will be able to time them, and we can deal with them properly.
Thank you very much.
With that said, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the parking regulations summarized here for the sections that you mentioned for the municipal and Shirley Avenue parking lot.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
Second. All in favor, all opposed? Okay, thank you very much. So ordered.
Mr. Chairman, did that include number 13 in the list?
Yes,
Okay, those are the Ocean Ave lots.
yes.
We're eliminating that.
Those are being, parking by permit is amended by deleting those lots.
That's correct.
Right.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, did I hear correctly earlier that we wanted to take section 14 separately?
Yes.
Yes.
Section 14, I'm going to read that now. Schedule 8 of Title 10, parking restrictions generally, is hereby amended by adding Brookline Street. No parking this side. The side will be determined at a public hearing. This one kind of fell through the cracks at the last meeting. So it's just to make one side no parking. It's a very small street. I think it has 3 houses on it. And Mr. Stringy suggested that it be the west side.
Yeah, the reason there are only, I believe, 5 houses on the street, and there are more driveways on the westerly side, so I think that should be the section that no parking allowed.
Okay. And this was
Convenience to the
supported by a letter from Councilor Serino that was looking to get this approved. Do I hear any motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve it. No parking on the westerly side of Brookline.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Rystrom. All in favor, all opposed? So ordered. Okay, now we are done with the public hearing and we're on to requests. Number 1, Councilor Keefe, a request to amend Chapter 10.34.020, Section F, by adding 296 Fenno Street and 300 Fenno Street. These buildings, I believe, are on the list to not have a parking permit granted to them. And Councilor Keefe would like to speak on that, I'm sure. And go ahead, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Argento. As mentioned, I know that we had to make a few amendments to this parking ordinance, and a lot of the residents from those condominiums were concerned with the amount of parking that they had. This building was obviously built in the, I want to say sometime in the late 80s, and they obviously weren't privy to what would come to today. They are owner-occupied buildings, and I feel like they would be able to get some preference. Most of the units do not have an overabundance of vehicles, so I don't think you'll get an influx of many residents, but I think that we should be able to support the ones that are there.
Okay, so they do have some parking, so we would be allowing them to purchase another additional.
Correct.
Or one thing.
I think one additional per unit would be more than enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
providing they're registered in Revere. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I counted 300 Fennel Street, for instance. They have approximately 25 on-site parking spaces. I think there's like 20 units in the building.
Okay.
So there is, as you mentioned, on-site parking. But for those residents that may have an extra car, would accommodate them through special request through our parking director.
Okay, I know we had an extensive public hearing on this. Do we want to waive the public hearing and just okay this? Anyone have objection to that?
No, I would just add it to the list that we received from the other councilors at the public hearing.
Okay.
As to these special properties that would be subject to the discretion of the parking director, issue permit as needed.
Okay.
And I would also mention, obviously, Jim and his team are very aware of what's going on in the neighborhoods. If they're seeing that this is becoming something that's abused, we could always revisit it and look at further restrictions.
Okay. Motion to approve these 2 buildings to the list, adding one spot. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thanks. A second, please. Here a second.
If Callahan will.
Thank you. All in favor? So ordered.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Counselor. Number 2, amend Schedule 11 of Title 10, handicapped person parking areas by adding 34 Tuttle and 251 Oakwood Avenue. Mr. DeCicco, do you care to?
Yes, I just wanted to see if we could just put this on for a public hearing for next month. The only question that I have, and maybe Sergeant Janino can help me on this, 251 Oakwood Avenue, I think has come up before. It's ringing a bell. I'm trying to go through my paperwork, but I'm not sure. I think it was denied, and looking at the application that was submitted, I can see why, but we can just put it on just in case, and then when I send the information, the commission can take a look and make the determination again, but it just seems to be very familiar to me.
Okay. All right, so a motion to move these two addresses to a public hearing. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, a second?
Seconded.
Second, thank you. All in favor, all opposed, we'll move these two addresses to a public hearing at our next meeting.
All right,
Sergeant.
Ralph,
Sergeant.
are either one of these here urgent right now? Because as it stands right now, everything's been approved. And if we gotta put the sign in, we could probably put it in on a trial basis for now.
For which?
34.
Which one?
Are either one of these here, you need them right away, either one of the two.
34 Tuttle Street, could. The only thing that I have all the paperwork. I've been down there. It's for a mom and the daughter. There is no driveway there. And I'm just waiting for the medical application part to come in, but I have everything else. It should definitely be, it's gonna meet all the criteria. I'm just waiting for that other piece, to be sent in.
All right, I know, man.
Okay. All right, so when do you think our next meeting should be, Sergeant?
All we have is number 2 on here for meeting, so.
Okay. End of February?
Yeah, we shoot for the last Thursday of February, shoot for.
Okay. Now, does this conflict at all with the human rights schedule meeting?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So maybe
Let's put a tentative for the 25th of February. I'll talk to the 2 chiefs
okay.
and see if it lines up with them. But I mean, I don't see a problem with it. Either 18th or 25th.
What's the date of 27th or the 25th? What date is that? What day is that?
Thursday, 25th is a Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, so tentatively our next meeting will be the 25th of February, 5
Yes.
o'clock. All right. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Thank you very much. Thanks for everyone's participation.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.